How's it hanging, fellas? I'm OrosZ and this is another episode of Terraria, and in today's episode we're doing something with my equipment. You might see that I have a laser drill, that I have laser weapons and shit like that. Now where did it came from? You may be curious. Why do I have a casino popper? What is that? Well, apparently I just realized that. Not like I knew it beforehand, I didn't remember that much. So what must have definitely happened is I lost the footage of the previous episode in which we fought the alien invasion. Now don't worry, because we're gonna fight the aliens many more times. But the fact that I lost the footage of our first time was annoying. Also, what I was looking for in that episode was purple dyes. I was looking for purple dyes because I figured that instead of putting like blue and purplish armor and where I should have my regular armor, I'm just gonna put purple dye in there and just make myself look like I have purple items. That's another cool thing, that you can change colors of your equipment. And that's pretty cool because they must have, they must have like different color variation for pretty much every armor set in the whole game. Oh my god, alright, I was just checking OBS. Yeah, the video player is still playing. Okay, that's good. I mean, it isn't good because look at the footage. But at least what's good is the fact that that's not lagging in the video player. So my commentary won't end up being off with the gameplay. My back is fucking killing me. I think I might be dying. Is it I hit that age? Oh yeah, I got a UFO. I can fly anywhere I want in this game now. So, I don't know what even is that. Boss made like a big fucking platform in the sky for no reason. We never used it for anything, so I don't know what the fuck was the purpose of that thing. So, I don't know what are we doing in this episode, by the way. Another thing I really wanted to get is the cat. That was one of my objectives. To get a cat in this game. I did later. And I like to think that that's Sweetwater, Maybe not the first encounter with Sweetwater, but just like some encounter with Sweetwater, like he's back. And he's just going to be back for a while now. Oh, this is what we're doing this episode. This is pretty cool, actually. We fight the Duke, which is that fish. And I'm gonna get a really cool ball. It's pretty much the best in the game, I think. It might be. I'm not sure about that. Look, we're fishing. I never fished in this game. I think fishing minigames. I have no idea why the fuck does so many games insist on having fishing minigames, because they're always shit. Final Fantasy 15, shit. Red Dead Redemption, it was shit. I recently played Far Cry 5 and there's a mission where you have to fish like a legendary fish, and it's shit. The only one I like was like in Stardew Valley. Even in Minecraft, when you're fishing, it's still shit. So here you go, Duke Fishron has awoken. It's a flying fish. And we did a pretty solid job on killing that thing. Boss gave me these special bullets that home into targets, and I have a casino popper, which is a gun that shoots bubbles. But then the bubbles just blow up and they just simply shoot out bullets. Which was really powerful with these homing bullets, because that meant that every single bullet I shot homed onto the target instead of just flying into whatever direction and possibly making me miss. Pretty insane, pretty cool, especially if you go for a ranger character, which boss told me multiple times that it's easiest in this game to just go with a range focused character. Man, these sound effects are loud. I can't hear myself over this fucking shooting noise. See, this gun is ridiculous, and it's all from the alien invasion that I missed. Well, it's not my fault. OBS fucking didn't do the good job on recording it. I think we also fought an eclipse, because I see Boss has an outfit that comes from Dr. Fly or whatever. The evil doctor that looks like a fly human person. Anytime you hear sound cutting off like this, that means I was checking off OBS, just so you know. Because you never know when the OBS is gonna fuck me over again and make me lose all the footage. I was watching a movie yesterday. I was watching Akira, actually. And before I watched the movie, I see like posters and all references to that movie, and I was like, So I always thought that Akira is like an anime movie about like a biker gang in the future. And I thought the main guy on the red bike with a red jacket, that's Akira. No, Akira is... I don't know how to even fucking explain. Akira is a force. It's a force that created the universe. And throughout the evolution, like everything has that fucking power of Akira in it, but not everything can like, I guess not everything can properly use it. And there are these weird there's like a fucking revolution going on. Like he has like dumb triangles, his fucking companions now. Did I get the new weapon? I don't think I did. Look, he has new summons. Tornadoes. They look kinda stupid if you ask me. Just fucking floating Beyblades. Not even Beyblades, fucking spinning tops. And well, Beyblades are spinning tops. If you wanna explain it very basically. And so there's like this fucking... So I saw an explosion happen at the beginning. Tokyo gets fucked. Now it's like 30 years after in the future or something. And now we're living in Neo Tokyo, which is like this huge fucking city with huge fucking buildings. Like in Blade Runner, because this is the original Blade Runner. The Blade Runner ripped off this movie, or at least its visual style. Well, it never ripped it off, it was inspired by that movie. Lots of fucking things were. Probably Cyberpunk's gonna have plenty of fucking Akira references. I can already tell. And they're trying to save this little kid who's kind of weird because he's like gray. And he's like really old looking, but he's like a little kid. Because he can use these weird powers. Oh, this like weird force, right? Got a cool demonic bow, but who cares? Oh yeah, we also lost the episode where I was finding these... the thing that you summon this fish with. But I already explained how that is. How you find that and what we had to do to find it and how it just happened that we lost it. So why is it that the boss shows up and immediately like loses some damage, but then the health just drops down like really slow? It's not really that bad actually. We're doing a pretty good job fucking this fish over. Yeah, and then you follow the biker gang with the guy in the red jacket that everybody like copies that fucking time he like does a side slide. Like he brakes and he goes sideways on the bike. Everybody copies that. I think it was in Batman Beyond when I first realized that this is like copied. You know, all these cool scenes of them braking on a bike and going sideways for us with their leg out. It's all from that fucking movie apparently. And his name was Kanada, I think. He was the main character pretty much. There was another main character who was like Kanada's friend in the same gang that he is. And his name was Taneda or something like that. Something on T. Something that started with T, I can't remember now. Kanada? No, Kanada was the main guy. Kanada. And there was a T guy. He kind of ended up being the main bad guy, so I'm just gonna call him the bad guy. The main bad guy, right? So he's in this gang, he's kind of being underestimated by everyone, what it seems like. You know, like he's trying to prove himself, but then he ends up having to be rescued, and he's kind of annoyed by that. That he seems like a liability to everyone. So, later in the movie, he almost runs one of the kids that get the superpowers over, and I think that's like the moment where possibly he gets his own powers. I got the special ball. Demonic Flareon. 121 damage on my ball, while the Demonic Flareon deals around 90. You might be thinking, why the fuck do I claim that it's better? Well, boss told me that, trust me, it's better. Well, it definitely makes a really nice sound of bubbles popping. I love this sound. Kind of sounds if you crack your knuckles. I wanted to crack them, but I did it before, and now they didn't do any noise. Oh, that sucks. So, what this weapon does, all the bubbles I spawn They home onto enemies and they all deal 90 damage, so I'm pretty overpowered with this thing actually. This thing is ridiculous. Later I get a new one that's like a fire one. It's not as good as this one, I think. It's not as fun to use as this one, but it's like more powerful, I guess, in theory. In practice it's less powerful because it doesn't have shit on a bubble just homing onto enemies. So I don't know when is the moment where I actually get to test out this weapon and prove how fucking overpowered it is. And oh, my back really hurts me. So the main bad guy, and I think he's like he ends up in a hospital, or maybe that's when they found out that he has superpowers. He tries to run away, and that's when he first like has hallucinations of like the world collapsing around him, of his guts just falling out of him, and that's pretty creepy looking. This movie's kind of gross, especially at the end. There's not many moments where it's like disgusting, where I want to fucking puke all the popcorn I ate. No, it was just like the ending's kind of gross, I gotta say, but the hallucinations he had before were kind of just weird looking. So I guess he actually does unleash. He awoken the powers that were causing to mate the universe by or these big explosions. And who is Akira? Because they're constantly talking about him. Like, I think in his hallucinations he knows that there's some guy named Akira and he wants to find him and defeat him because he hears that he's like the ultimate force. And he just like goes crazy with power and that he thinks he's the ultimate force. Because no one can fuck with him because he just like blasts him away, which is pretty cool looking. The whole... well, maybe I'll talk about the visuals later. And I forgot what I wanted to say. So he goes crazy with power. He murders like a bar owner that he used to go to. He murders one of his friends, and the other one gets out alive. And Kaneda was like really close to that one friend that he murdered. So he's like, oh man, my other friend went fucking insane. I better fucking do something about him. And there's also like a subplot of this military guy who wants to save the world from this guy. He kind of looks like the main bad guy, but he ends up being good. I think he dies later, but it's like weird because... actually, maybe he didn't. I don't remember what happened to him. But... so what happens, there's like this military dude who wants to destroy that kid. Because he's obviously gonna fucking cause a lot of chaos, and there's like riots in the world, in the city. There's like some kind of cultist group that are when they first like realize that there's this kid who's going around causing explosions, they think that's Akira reborn, and they start worshipping him. So at some point he like puts on a cape, and I think that moment where he escapes from a hospital and realizes all his powers and he starts murdering people. He looks okay. He looks stupid in the hospital clothes because you could see his ass. You probably could. They don't show it, but you probably could see his ass from the other side of this outfit. But then he puts on like a normal clothes and he looks cool. He has like spiky hair all of a sudden and he looks kind of evil. But evil in like a casual, like also has like a casual normal outfit, but then he like grabs like a cloth and puts it on like a cape. And I think that's what makes it look kind of ridiculous. Like, he doesn't fucking need a cape. But yeah, whatever, that was my only complaint pretty much of the movie, that he has a cape on. Which I thought looked kind of lame. Didn't even match his outfit all that much. It was like bright red, and his outfit was like white and gray. I mean, I guess it's not a bad match, it's just like I wouldn't put a cape on him in the first place. He doesn't need a fucking cape for anything. And I probably skipped like a lot of shit, so Kaneda like gets involved with these people that are trying to, I think they're trying to save these gray kids that have the superpowers. I think they're trying to save them from the hospital because they're kind of there against their will. I think that's what they were trying to do, but it wasn't exactly. No, I think what they might have been trying to do is they were trying to save the main bad guy. Can't recall his name. Maybe I'll just look it up really quickly. They're trying to save him, I guess, to I don't know what, but they kind of all died. Kaneda joined them, and he later tried to like save the world and shit. He was kind of like, he pretty much did save the whole world, kind of. Not exactly. Hold on. Akira... Cast. This movie never had a sequel, never had anything besides just the movie. What the fuck is that? 2016? Action thriller? What is this bullshit? That's not what I was fucking looking for. You gotta be fucking kidding me that that's what comes up first? Some fucking bullshit garbage fucking movie instead of this fucking amazing classic? I ain't sure what the hell the tail on the back of Kanada's jacket was. Where's the cast? Well, I'm not looking for like the names of the fucking voice actors, I'm just trying to find the names of the main characters. Tetsuo. The main bad guy name was Tetsuo. And the main character pretty much was named Kaneda, not Kanada. I switched the A's and the E. Kaneda was his name. There was also Kei. She was kind of the love interest. I think she was the daughter of like the main revolutionary guy, the guy who like wanted to save Tetsuo or whatever. But she ends up kind of falling for Kaneda because he's like, at first he's kind of an asshole, but then later he's becoming really heroic, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, now I can't fucking recall what happens in the movie. But at the ending was pretty weird because it's like Tetsuo goes to find Akira. He finds Akira, but it turns out that Akira is just like in a jar. And Akira is no longer a person. I guess when he used his abilities, he just blew up and all they could recover was like a couple of nerves, like a piece of brain, and that's it. And he was pissed off that he was looking for this guy to defeat him and prove his superiority, and it turns out that all this guy was just a stupid fucking... a couple of jars. Another episode where I don't think I'm going underground, by the way. Also, you might be wondering what the fuck am I doing right now? Why am I running around this place? Well, when you go to the rainbow biome, which is I think where we are right now, I'm judging by the pink ice, I think that's this indicator that I'm in this rainbow biome. At night, sometimes you can run into a butterfly. And if you collect that butterfly, you catch it, you could copy it, and with the butterfly, if you release the butterfly and kill it immediately, you can summon the toughest boss in the game. Is what we tried to do, but we didn't succeed until like way later, so yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, they really are called Demon Eyes, okay, cool. Sounds cool, like Demon Eyes, Demonize, like demonization. That's pretty cool. It's a cool name for a band, like a heavy metal band, Demon Eyes. Maybe spell like Demon I-S-E, like ice? Demon Ice? I-C-E, like ice? No. Nah, maybe not. So, he finds Akira, and I guess they try to shoot him down with like a fucking, like a laser orbiting around Earth, like a satellite that shoots a laser on the ground. And they try to shoot him with that, and they fucking blast his arm off. And Akira, Kaneda shows up with a gun, and he kind of shoots him like he's trying to defeat him as well, his old friend, but it doesn't really work all that much because he's just so powerful. And there's like a weird scene. So he uses his powers to like summon a bunch of metal because they're in like a scrapyard at that point. And he has a robot arm. And he goes to the stadium, he sits on like a big throne and everything, and he has a robot arm, but it seems like he lost control of his own powers, and there's a weird moment. I think what's happening is that he made, with his force, a robot arm. But his normal arm was trying to regrow, so his arm kinda like merged into the metal and looked all gross and disgusting. And there's like a moment where like the metal just like tries like starting to go through his body. There's like wires going through his head. He also himself like gets attached to the chair he's sitting on, so he's trying to like get off the chair, and it's like really weird. And then he loses control of his powers, and he just starts like morphing into like a disgusting fucking blob of flesh and garbage. And it looks gross, and then it looks even grosser when you realize that this blob of fucking flesh and all this weird shit starts to resemble a baby. And then the little kids that are gray show up, and they're like, well, we can't fucking defeat Tetsuo, he became too powerful, so they summon Akira, who's apparently at some point has been a kid, and he caused that explosion at the beginning of the movie, and I guess they only recovered a little bit of him. So they summon him, he comes back, apparently he's friends with them out of nowhere. Maybe these kids are older than they led to believe, because there are kids. Oh, UFO, by the way. Oh, I destroyed it. I didn't mean to destroy it. If you find a UFO and you let it, and it goes red and it flies away, then the alien invasion happens. But I unfortunately beat the shit out of it by accident because my bubbles just homed in on the thing and I couldn't stop them anymore, so it kinda sucked. Yeah, so they summon Akira. What Akira does is, I'm not sure what he does. He causes like an enormous explosion that breaks the whole city, basically. Kaneda, Kai, they survive, but it's like they survive at the end of the movie, but they're like standing in the middle of this wreckage of this city that they once lived in, so it's like they can't fucking even... Where would they go back? To this fucking destroyed city? There's like nothing to go back to, it's all fucked up now. And then like the movie ends with Tetsuo saying, I am Tetsuo. And it kinda shows like the beginning of a new universe. So I think what happened is that Tetsuo became so powerful that Akira just like sacrificed himself to defeat him, and the force of Tetsuo made like a new universe. So Tetsuo, from a little kid in a bike gang, became a universe, I guess. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, and there's a scene in the hospital that happens before in the movie, where Tetsuo's sitting in his bed in a hospital. It's kind of like he can do a little bit of his like magic, but not a lot. So he, for example, like summons a glass to his hand, even though he doesn't notice because he has his eyes closed. And then all of a sudden, like the toys, I guess they bring to him, start to come to life. And I thought at first that those are hallucinations, right? But then the toys are like merging into like a one big teddy bear, and the teddy bear starts leaking. And at first I was like, oh, don't tell me this is like fucking... This is like something gross. Apparently it was milk, so it wasn't that gross. They were leaking with milk, but they still look disgusting. And the toys are just like really creepy, except for the car. The car just looks silly, but the teddy bear looked really gross and disgusting. And that was a fucked up scene, and then later when he like snapped out of it, it turns out that those little kids caused those hallucinations. So I think those little kids were causing these hallucinations all the time to him. I'm not sure. And then there was a thing how the Kai and the little girl, because there were the three weird kids. There was like this kid who was like a little boy. He had some magic powers thanks to that whole bullshit with the fucking force, right? And he's the little kid that shows up and like knocks like Tetsuo out of his bike with his like blast thing. That fucking blast of force he does. Why are there lanterns in the background, by the way? And he's kind of like I think he's the nicest. I think he's the one who like decides to sacrifice himself to summon Akira at the end, and then they like other kids follow. There's a little girl who's like, I think she can read minds, but often in the movie they shown the little girl and it was like the screen was fading from the face of the little girl to Kai, and it was like implied like it was the Kai like connected to the little girl, or they're like siblings, or they're like the same person maybe, but it never like, I don't think it ever like, or maybe I just didn't understood like what the fuck. So what was the case with that whole thing? That they were like showing Kai and that little girl as if they were like connected or something. I don't know what it fucking meant. Maybe it didn't mean anything. And the third kid kind of looked like Pokey from Earthbound. He was kind of like the fat kid, and he was like flying in this little flying chair all the time. He seemed like the most important out of the kids. And yeah, and so they were all the three kids. The visuals in the movie are fucking gorgeous. I think the whole movie is hand-drawn, like there's no computer animation. That's kind of an old movie, it's from the 80s, I think. So yeah, it's pretty good looking. What I like especially is whenever anime goes for facial styles and characters that aren't fucking stupid. Oh, by the way, this guy moved into a fucking house in a cloud. And fuck that shit. He has to move into one of the houses we built and pay us fucking rent. So I came, like a good neighbor, and wrecked his fucking house so he couldn't live there anymore. And I found a UFO and it flew away. And Martians are invading. You know, Martians are invading just because. Why wouldn't they be invading? Martians attack. That's another cool movie. I think Tim Burton actually helped with that movie, with the Martians design and everything like that. Which I remember. Look how many UFOs are in the background, it's ridiculous. Imagine the guy in the fanfic trying to explain why the Martians are invading. You know what I thought? Maybe the guy who was writing the fanfic, he was writing it after he played the game. So and maybe the game was like new to him. So maybe he didn't even realize how fucked up shit we'll get later in the game. And he thought like building stuff was weird. Because one of the other fanfics there were like Mario fanfics, and one of them I think was like a Final Fantasy 1 fanfic. So maybe Terraria seemed like completely super ridiculous to him. Oh brother, my fucking back kills me. So the movie, you know, looks great. Everybody always... I guess it was like the origin of where cyber, like it looks, many shots really reminded me of Midgar in Final Fantasy VII, which I guess Final Fantasy VII took inspiration from that movie to its look. Except with like Final Fantasy went for this like darker look, I would say. Like the cities are way more trashed in Final Fantasy VII, I would say, than Akira. Akira was fairly colorful and pretty cool looking. Yeah, I was saying how I hate an anime whenever they like go for these big eyes. They're like this fucking art style that like looks like every fucking anime character. Well, in this movie, characters were more like their facial features weren't so fucking ridiculous, where their eyes were so detailed and huge, so ridiculous colors. They just get like normal sized eyes with black pupils. And they look really good. Reminds me of like Lupin's art style. I really like that art style. Because for example, like every woman in that anime and Lupin the Third, they just look normal, you know? They have like normal facial proportions instead of having an enormous size and a small everything else. And no nose. That's another thing. Using like anime characters sometimes don't fucking have a nose. They have like a dot where they should have a nose. I guess it implies that that's the tip of the nose, and you can't see the nose because it blends in with the face. I'd say that's just fucking stupid, I don't know. Yeah, and I really like it. And Lupin, I also like the fact how everyone's skinny and they have like the body proportions are... Everyone seems really tall, even though I looked it up on Wikipedia one time, how tall is Lupin. I feel like everyone in that movie is always so, in that anime is always so fucking tall. And Lupin is fucking as tall as me, and I don't feel like I'm tall. Maybe everyone else where I live is fucking tall, and I just seem short. Maybe if I would move to Japan, I would all of a sudden seem like a giant. Or maybe I wouldn't. Speaking of Japan, I was watching this porn right? I was watching porn. Unbelievable, right? How could I have done something so un-Christian-like? And it was like the weirdest fucking... It had no plot. They were like sitting in the room. Some dude was sitting in a room, right? Like a girl came over and it seemed like they were gonna do homework. And then she started to suck his dick with that. Like they never even say anything. The girl just comes over. The dude sits by a table. And she like comes over, sucks his dick, and they fuck on the bed. Another girl comes over, she just like doesn't care, and he fucks her. And the movie is like I guess you could say it's a movie. It's 3 hours long. I didn't watch everything. just some better position. I just thought it was so ridiculous that there's like no conversation, no nothing. There's like no like foreplay for how did they start fucking? No, they just fucking they did it. It doesn't need an explanation, it just happened. Maybe the fate wanted them to fuck and they did. Who are they to disobey what fate has planned for them, right? Yeah, so I definitely really recommend Akira. And I was gonna like look up what is the next movie I had in plans to watch. And I wanted to watch the next movie I'm gonna watch maybe after I'm done recording these videos is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. But there were a couple of movies I wanted to see and I just couldn't find them online. Caddyshack, I can't find it anywhere where I wouldn't have to pay for it. Godzilla King of Monsters, I can't find that one at all. What were the other movies? Hold on, let me fucking see. I'd like imagine like some person who regularly watches all my videos is probably up to date, whatever the fuck I'm talking about, but if you like got interested in what the movies I'm talking about, then I'm always pretty much, whenever I'm watching a movie, I always talk about it in like some recent video I make afterwards. Yeah, I had to get rid of Graves again. So if you're curious about my movie recommendations, then I don't know, watch some other videos I made because I can't remember now. Alright, I'll be honest with you, I rewatched the whole rental reviews and I was kind of following what movies they said were good because I don't care to watch bad movies. And I was looking up if I can find those. So what are the movies I could not find? Let me see. Commando I seen, Mac and Me was shit. Some movies I didn't care about. Oh, what happened? A solar eclipse. I think I summoned it. Right? I had like summoning for that. I don't know if there's any reason for us to do that. To be honest. I didn't watch the new Halloween. I don't really want to. I don't care. I kinda wanna rewatch like Rocky and then Creed so I can like, you know the whole fucking story of it. Kinda wanna watch that. Die Hard I watched was really good. Oh, there's the first movie I could not find anywhere where I wouldn't have to fucking pay. Big Trouble in Little China. I couldn't find it anywhere. Every website I found it on wanted me to log in with some fucking and give my credit card information, or wanted me to make a premium account, and I was like, fuck this shit, I ain't gonna make anything. Akira, the one I just watched. Caddyshack I couldn't find. Last Crusade, Indiana Jones Last Crusade I couldn't fucking find anywhere. And I probably did see the movie before, but quite definitely I think I've seen all of them. But like not recently, so I don't remember them all that well. When I was a kid I probably watched them. So I wanted to rewatch those ones, and I couldn't find The Last Crusade. I found in a pretty decent quality Raiders of the Lost Ark, but not The Last Crusade. Roadhouse is another movie I couldn't find. I could find the sequel, but in that review they were saying how the sequel sucks ass, and the first Roadhouse is awesome. But yeah, I couldn't fucking find it anywhere, I wouldn't have to pay either. The Running Man I couldn't find. The Fifth Element I did watch. Detective Pikachu I did watch in theaters actually, and it was really good. Last Action Hero I couldn't find. Godzilla King of the Monsters I couldn't find either. Scott Pilgrim's another movie I want to watch. Dumb and Dumber, because I don't think I ever sat down to watch it. Dumb and Dumber 2. And I think there's a Dumb and Dumber movie. There's like 3 Dumb and Dumber movies, and I don't know what they're called, but I would want to watch all of them, I guess. Duel is some like first Steven Spielberg movie. apparently, but I don't know, I don't really want to fucking watch that. Airplane I've seen many times. True Lies sounds like a cool movie to watch too. Dirty Work sounds kinda cool. Rambo I've been recently rewatching with my friends, so I'm probably gonna stick to watching it with my friends, just so we're all in the know on what's happening in the Rambo universe. Predator, I watched 1, 2, and the new one, Deep Predator. I think I like the first one the most still. Super Mario Bros. The movie I watched many times. Blade Runner I watched in a really shitty quality, but I did. There's some Nicolas Cage movies. I don't know if I really wanted to see any of them. The Truman Show I kind of wanted to see. The Mask, Ace Ventura 1 and 2 I've seen many times. The Mask I've seen many times. I remember one time as a kid I stayed up late watching The Mask because I found it on fucking TV. It just happened to be playing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit and fucking watch it. Bloodsport, Kung Fu Hustle, Kung Pao I've seen many times, so well, great. Watch Kung Pao, guys. Flash Gordon is another movie I wanted to see. The one from the 80s, because they were talking that Flash Gordon was like a TV series in the 50s, and they made a remake in the 80s. And Flash Gordon was like the origin for Star Wars. But apparently when the 80s one came out, no one cared. But it was apparently like really cool. Top Gun I've seen. My friend really wants to see the new one. Guess he's pissed off that they delayed it until Christmas. Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge I also did see. And yeah, those are all the movies from rental reviews I wanted to watch. I guess. One thing, oh my back, holy shit. One thing I also wanted to rewatch was the entirety of Star Wars. Because I never watched Star Wars, like I always watched like episode 4, and then I would watch episode 3, and like episode whatever, and I would like watch them out of order, and like, with like strange time differences. So I would want to watch those movies like back to back. Oh, another movie I wanted to watch and I couldn't find was Treasure of Sierra Madre. It's a 90s 40s movie, and I heard it was really good, and I even found it, but again I had to pay for some bullshit premium subscription on the website that I always watch movies on. Which is already stupid because these movies on that website are like fucking... I don't know if they get licenses to fucking play those movies, because some movies on that website are just uploaded by users. So, you know, they might as well be fucking stolen from somewhere. But then some other movies on that website are like, you have to pay premium for it. The spiritual successor to Captain Bomb is on that website too, and it's also premium, so I never bothered to fucking watch the Captain Bomb spiritual successor, because I didn't care. I watched Captain Bomb, all of it. First season fucking sucks, but then later it gets really good. And there's like it's kind of a spin-off that's supposed to be like the last season, but it's focusing on the bad guys instead of the good guys. Where it's the Wrath of the Laser Spear, I think it was called. And it follows the bad guys instead of the good guys this time. And they kill off my favorite character in that show, so I guess like very last thing that happens in that fucking universe is my favorite character dying. So that's too bad. But he was turned into a cyborg anyway, and he kinda sucked after he was turned into a cyborg. He was like stupid. Not only he became the bad guy after they turned him into a cyborg, he also became like really dumb. Well, when he was a human, he was a badass. So like this badass vigilante going around space, hunting down aliens for his own enjoyment. Not accepting payment. It was a funny episode where he hunts down like a big alien, and like some dude comes over and he's like, here, the payment, the whole village gave some money, right? And he's like, I don't need payment, I hunted down the motherfucking alien for my own enjoyment. He flies away on his space bike, And then the guy goes back to the village and he's like, what an asshole, I had to pay him even more than he took. Well, he took the money for himself. That was pretty funny. Episode's about to end. Jesus Christ, I sat through an hour 40 minutes talking about shit. I can't believe it. I actually had topics to talk about. I don't know where I found a cutlass. A fucking pirate sword. We didn't even have a pirate invasion. But I found a pirate sword. I think I know why I was doing the Eclipse event, because I was trying to get... I think one of the enemies might have been dropping Broken Sword, which is required to make the best weapon in the game. Which unfortunately I did not... I think I got it later, but I don't know where it dropped from. I don't remember. It might have been from the Eclipse, one of the enemies. Oh yeah, during the Eclipse there's an enemy... There's like a weird enemy that shows up. I don't remember which one it is, but there's like one enemy that drops it. Not like every enemy during the Eclipse does. Just some of them. Which is kind of annoying. The episode's about to end. It was a long enough episode. Next one I'm probably gonna read this fucking fanfic again. Because it's even longer than this one. So you know what? See you fellas in the next episode. Bye.